Hello, everybody, and welcome back to What If Deku Was a Zombie? In the last episode, we had All Might had to fight Nana Shimura and Izuku Midoriya. We also found out that besides some of the hero schools and everything, there was some heroes infected, like Mount Lady, Present Mike, and also some villains like Twice and whoever else I can remember. But not only that, the heroes did manage to save a settlement before it got taken over. And also, they found out about Inko, how the zombies are ignoring her. Let's start to notice about that. Most of the heroes did, but now, before we get into this episode, I do have to say one thing, and it's real quick. I am sorry this came out a little bit late, but I wanted one day off a little bit more, and I released it on this day, so yeah. And let's actually get into the story. So, where we begin is at, well, where we left off in the last episode. All Might seeing Inko being ignored by the zombies. With, the people who I said the last episode, which again, I'm going to say it like in every video. If you don't know who I'm talking about, get your butt to the last video. It should be up top saying, hey, this is the video. Go watch that real quick and then come back and then you'll find out what I'm trying to tell you. So, yeah. And they have to try this. This is very tricky because there's a lot of zombies, but they're ignoring Inko, but they're kind of like a defensive wall. So they go back to UA and ask Nezu and tell him about this, and they had recording proof too, because yeah, the phones don't have service. Doesn't mean the phones can't record or have flashlights. So yeah. But yeah, so this is what happens, you know? So things get intriguing here. So they make. Nezu says that he finds that all interesting and they need this woman since she can be ignored by the zombies and she would be a useful person because, she can scout out an area where so many zombies are and the zombies just ignore her. Because lately they have been using, and I know this sounds pretty messed up, very little kids to scout around. Because in the last episode I said that, yeah, Deku still, his zombies still ignore children, but they go for adults. Because, Deku ain't all the way gone. All his morals ain't gone, so yeah, so they have been using children to scout around in those areas, and the zombies would ignore them because, Deku's making them. And yeah, which that's what they learn. So they call this Operation Save Inko Midoriya. Well, All Might does, but it's for other very sus reasons. But yeah, let's continue. So while they're doing that, we are going to change the point of view to Deku. So Deku has been infecting people, and he infected this person who had a kind of a fire and copy type quirk. Like, together, it's like half of it he's allowed to set things on fire, and then the other half he can copy people's quirk. Since he infected him, and he ate the whole dude, since, and I'm gonna add this. Yeah, I know, it sounds kind of dumb, but it makes sense to me. If he eats a whole entire person, he actually gets to keep the quirk, and it's like in there. But it's not like, how can I say this? He doesn't have to eat the bones. He just has to eat all the flesh. There you go. Simple and easy. So yeah. So he ate literally the whole person, gain their quirk, and since their quirk is a copy quirk, like has copy in it, now he can copy any of his special infected's quirks much more, and it can protect more of his body, depending on what quirk it is, and now he can almost copy any quirk. But there's one quirk's types that he cannot copy. Ones that are mutations, that add extra limbs or, just extra stuff. Just extra stuff that ain't normally on a human body. So that's the only ones. It's like it is still a copy quirk, but it ain't that great. Like it can't copy like those type of quirks. So yeah. But since now he has fire, Midoriya has planned more. So yes. So he comes across some heroes from UA. Yes, you can see where I'm going with this. I'm sorry, but some people are gonna get infected, and I want this. I want this to happen for Deku. So Deku's doing this whole little zombie announcer thing, and a lot of these, like some of these teachers and students, are actually doing it, because they're trying to find more people. Because there's still survivors out there. They're just hard to find. And they're trying to bring them back to UA since it's more safer until they see Giant Mountain Lady, and with them is Midnight. Yeah, yeah. She got some pistol. She got some pistols. Yeah, you would be like telling me, "Hey, Cave, what the heck is this? You're giving her pistols? Why?" Well, yeah, I'm gonna explain. This is just me explaining real quick. It'll be fast, I promise. Reason why, yeah, her quirk is sleeping, but I don't think it would affect most zombies. For example, say a zombie and it's a special infected that can be immune to her quirk. Or what about the zombies don't have lungs? Yeah, now you see. But yeah, so she's just blatting until she sees that, and she's terrified and stuff. And Mr. Aizawa was informed over radio, and he's rushing over there to try to help out one of his last friends and stuff. But yeah, and two zombie versions of Present Mike are just about to fight her and stuff until Aizawa shows up, breaks one's neck in half, which the one's neck in half just turns into mush, and then he like lower breaks the lower jaw of the other one clean off, and it also turns into mush until they see Deku, and Mr. Aizawa feels pain because that was one of his students. He still cared about him, like not as strongly in the anime because I kind of killed Deku more early. More early. I'm sorry. That's kind of funny. I know. For you, you're like K.infinite. That's kind of messed up. Well, for me, it's hilarious. But yeah, until Deku just uses fire and almost burns Mr. Aizawa, but he does successfully burn Midnight. Like half of her face is like half of her body was burned, and Mr. Aizawa like wrapped her up in his scarf, and he had a modified version of his scarf. This one is like for medical reasons, like he has two of them. But yeah, and this one he had to wrap it like on half of her face, arm, and legs, and leg. So yeah, she got those areas burned, and he had to kind of fall back a little bit with some of the people and few students that were with them. Then Deku was prepared. He wanted to weaken them a little bit more, because even though her quirk wouldn't work on most special infected, it would still work on a lot of his zombies. So he wanted to get her out of commission. Because remember, Deku's still there. He's just being manipulated. So after that, there's a lot more that happens. So the Saikai, they have been surviving through the zombie apocalypse so far, and because of Ares' bullets, Ares, quirk and the bullets, when they were using it, they would convert people back to normal for a short period of time and ask them, hey, like, get them actually locked up. And because of the zombie apocalypse, this made Overhaul see and actually start changing his ways a little bit because, because of many reasons. And he's kind of like he doesn't reg- like somewhat he doesn't regret what he has done to Eri, but he does want to make up for it and forget about the past. So yeah, and because of her quirk, she can fully turn people who are zombies back to normal. Yeah, so that's going well. But while they're doing that, there was a lot of stuff that happened. Some of Overhaul's dudes died because of Deku's, like certain zombies that Deku has, like the Nomus. So yeah, a lot of them because they died because of like trying to help and like get supplies or actually help people because and this time it's better to have survival and more people means more capabilities of surviving. Yeah, I know it makes sure like yeah if they get in a lot of people are gonna die, but hey, what you gonna do when you have a little girl who can turn people back to normal? You don't 100% wanna turn everyone back because if you don't, they're gonna kill you. But yeah, so but with that, that's what else happens, and there's more things going to happen in this. Promise you. So we cut back to Deku, and he's figuring out something ain't right in the certain area where the Hisekai are at. So he starts sending, and you guys are gonna like this, zombies with stealth quirks and some zombies with riot shields and stuff, like SWAT zombies if you want to go with that. And they have them like at the front gate because they like have them at certain areas because with regular zombies because they're like Deku's curious, and because of that, Overhaul's getting nervous. So many interesting stuff's going to happen. Until he hears something out loud that brings Overhaul shivers down his spine. Because that only means one thing. A horde is coming his way. Which he doesn't know. They're already here. About to charge. And the thing that he heard was this. Fetch me their soul! Also, with that, the horde starts coming in. Deku's horde. They break through the walls and the areas where they assume where there's entrances. Well, Deku, since he's the one controlling them, and they go in, and Overhaul's men are fighting off the infected. And Overhaul had to like run and book it towards Eri because he's hoping he doesn't want her to get infected if like anything because he doesn't know that the zombies don't infect children. He does not know that. He didn't know that. So yeah, and they're just trying to fight them back, but there's so many of them, and most of them are like zombified pro heroes too, and like they can see like a lot of carnage. Rappa gets infected, turns against his dude who has the shield because he was kind of distracted, kind of walling off areas, and Rappa just punches through his shield when he tried to protect himself, and and then like while that dude and him are fighting, and it's just like it's getting insane. It's getting brutal, bloody, and everything. Like a lot of people have been killed because of this, and like until the point where it's just Overhaul if like Eri and a few of the guys with him in canon, like the guys who just were just protecting him, since his quirk probably does something to him. I don't know, but yeah, and such until they see when they get outside, zombified mountain lady leveling the whole area, just destroying their base and allowing more and more zombies, and a lot more people are getting infected. But sadly, because of this, a lot of their equipment was destroyed. But luckily for them, they had the final bullet. The downside is he had to modify this bullet because he couldn't have it where it erased quirks and cured the infected. So he had to only have it where it cured the infected. So, because of this, he only has the same number of mounts that were in that little case in canon. So they try to fly away in the helicopter until zombified Mountain Lady hits it and it goes out of control. It did scrape up her hand, but she's still fine, and she's special infected. So yeah, and oh boy, Eri was with them too. So when they crash land pretty close to UA, and Mr. Aizawa sees this when he was trying to get Midnight back, to their area. Sees like more zombies coming because Deku had this he had two Mountain Ladies because twice he made another copy, and the copy was the one fighting Mr. Aizawa. Just this the one that was fighting them was the real one. So yeah. So anyway, besides that, they've just been fighting lately, and and he has to help them because he still has the hero quality still there. He still has the hero momentum, just the hero thing. Just to feel like you need to save this person. So he helps till Overhaul himself gets bitten because one of the zombies got in the helicopter and bit one of his dudes, but the dude pushed him off. When they got crashed, he technically died by the impact, but the virus spread and brought him back to life. And he bit Overhaul. Well, his other goons who were in the helicopter were dead. Just Eri and him and the thing were still good, and they were halfway to UA. That's how far away. That's how close Mr. Aizawa was going, and that's how far away they crashed. So, not thinking of anything else, Overhaul actually does this, and it's very sad. He gives Mr. Aizawa the case, tells him to take Eri, and he stays behind to literally hold off the zombies. And you might be saying, but that doesn't sound like Overhaul. Well, because of this virus, it made him change a lot more, and yeah, I know, but he actually did at this point care about Eri, so he thought of the heroic thing, even though you might think he wouldn't do it, and he stayed behind and actually fighting the zombies, and he's holding them off so good until Mr. Aizawa was up, now pretty close to UA, until he hears and turns around, looks back a little bit, and hears the final just explosion sound, and that was from Deku, zombie Deku, killing Overhaul, and eating him so he can have the quirk as well. And that's what we got. The death of Overhaul, sacrificing himself to save Eri and to at least give the world a fighting chance of a cure against this virus before it leaves Japan. So, with that, we return back to the point of view of, well, good and simple, All Might. And at this time, we kind of time skip a little bit, where it's at night. Mr. Aizawa did make it back to UA, by the way. And All Might and the people he had earlier, like Hiroshima, I think Bakugo was it, because he knew the area, and Invisible Girl, they sneak back to where Inko is, and there's still a few more zombies walking around, but not a lot. Not a lot. So luckily, that's good for them because earlier in that time there was zombified heroes, and believe me, they didn't want to deal with them. Because they were tough heroes. They weren't just like low ranking. One was. Let me think. Give me a second. Miracle. Yeah, you might be wondering. Wait, how did she get infected? She tried to fight them. They overwhelmed her at some point and one bit. So yeah, good and simple. So anyway, so they sneak in, they find Inko, and she lets them in, just in case, because they wanna they wanna talk to her because she doesn't want to really leave the area because since the zombies aren't really trying to attack her, and she's still kind of saddened about losing her child and stuff. She doesn't want to leave the place where he grew up, where Deku grew up. So, yeah, and they're talking, and All Might's saddened, and he says he agrees with her that he's saddened that Deku is dead. He's not happy, He's actually not smiling too, and she's crying that she's saying she's sad that Zuko's dead, but she doesn't want to leave because uh, this is where her baby boy grew up, and this is where he, stayed before he went to UA, and she just bursts out into tears. Bakugo's there, and he tries to cheer her up, and it works. It works. It works. Just not as much, but it works enough where she doesn't make a whole freaking, flood of water. But yeah, Kirishima is just leaning against the wall because he's sad that his friend is still dead and became one of these things, and he's sad about that. Invisible Girl is keeping watch, so yeah, that's what she's doing. So after an hour of them talking, they do convince Inko to go to UA, and she just says, "Let me pack some things," and they let her out of respect. So when she's done packing some stuff, she does pack a few things that Deku owned, so she can still remember him, and doesn't forget. And she just locks up the house, and they leave. And she locks up the house for the last time, and she does a farewell and leaves the area with them to go to UA. And she still has a sad face because Midori's dead. Oh God, I'm gonna make myself cry. Oh, I ain't gonna lie, folks. This is making me tear up. All right. Before we continue with the story, we gotta deal with this real quick. There should be something up above. Click that. It should have a link to well to another video of mine called K.infinite Civil War Voices. Go check that out. Go give me a comment down below. Say who's your favorite character from them, because there's a lot of different voices. Believe me, it's neat, and I want to hear you guys' opinion. I said this on Villain Deku. Now a few people watched it, not a lot. Please go check it out. I did really good hard work. I do say some stuff at the beginning, but it's not too long. So yeah, just go watch it, enjoy it, and you don't have to look. But just imagine you interacting with some of these characters. All right, and let's continue with this story. I just had to pull that up real quick. So yeah, so we've returned back to the point of view of Deku, and he has a plan. So his plan is to infect I Island. Because he knows if he infects that, he can have mobility. He can have wherever he wants. He can have a floatable vase wherever he needs it. Which, here's the thing, some of the remnants of the police and some remnants of heroes have been connected with UA, and they have protected the airports and destroyed a lot of planes. So just to make sure that the infected don't leave, because they know the infected has some intelligence. Because they attack in high, like a big group. They don't attack one at a time, and they're special infected too. So they know that. They know that. So they're trying to protect them, and that's Deku's problem. He needs to create a big distraction that can, you know, disrupt what he's trying to do. So, what Deku plans, he asks a certain somebody, and you know who it is. He should be on screen right now. And it's Cadaver. Well, Deku asks Cadaver how he can plan this big distraction. Well, Cadaver tells him, is Midoriya, the way you can do this is to use your zombie who can make copies to make a copy of you and send it to an other side of the town or city or whatever you're in. Use a giant horde as a distraction because the settlements will have to prepare for that while you take over an airport with some special, unique infected. And using your special key, Nana Shimura. And Deku's like, oh yes, I agree with you, Cadaver. That is good plan. Good plan. But there's some things we could tweak. Which, this is where I'm gonna leave you off. Yep, I'm leaving you off on a cliffhanger. Yeah. So, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you thought about this what if, or comment your ideas or theories of what you think is going to happen next. Or give me quirks, because, since Zombie Deku can technically take them in a weird way. And that's all I really have to say. Thank you for watching. And also go check out that one thing I said. That's it, and peace.